So Scott Galloway talks a lot about how men are falling behind in all sorts of levels. And it's true when you look at the education system. It's also kind of true when you look at dating and love and sex. And he talks a lot about how the lack of family structure is something that they're woefully missing out on. By the way, this is very Charlie Kirk-esque, right? This is a lot of what he had talked about too before he died. The source, though, one of the best researchers and most knowledgeable people on this topic is a woman named Marcia Inhorn. She's an anthropologist at Yale, and she spent her whole career studying men, and in particular male factor infertility, but she studied like how families have shaped up from the men's point of view, and she's gone all around the world. And so it's worth like giving her a shout out because she's incredibly smart. She's written books on the topic, and a lot of stuff that I hear Scott Galloway say, and frankly, a lot of stuff that I heard Charlie Kirk say came from her studies. And I spoke to her. There's an interview with her on my media site, batch.social. So you can go there and check it out. You can go sign up to be a sperm donor at batch.global, or you can go check out all your sperm metrics at spermmaxing.com. Okay, that's my last plug. This concept of what she called the lost boys. And this is words specifically that Charlie Kirk used as well. And Scott Galloway has like a similar tone. This idea of the lost boys is that kind of women like to date someone who is sort of either their intellectual, financial equal or higher. And men don't necessarily strive to that. So as you start to see education, this sort of education gap increase, there's less of a likelihood that women will date men. Now, what Scott Galloway says is this is a problem with men. This is a men's problem, right? They have to buck up and they have to, get better at what they're doing and, try to be more manly as a result. This is so toxic and so wrong. Marcia Inhorn, the professor who has studied this and written books about it, says something very, very different. What she says is women need to change the way they're thinking about being with their partner, right? And this is actually really powerful. It is so much less toxic than what he's saying, because like a man's degree does not define him, nor does his paycheck. And women can find very happy relationships with men of all types, especially if they're strivers. And she talks a lot about this in the interview that I had with her, and she talks a lot about it in her books too. It's so deeply sad that men are not finding love and connection in our world. We can all agree on that. But the solution to that is not telling men that they have to be better. This provokes shame in society. It furders this whole concept of toxic masculinity that we're working so hard to pull away. And like worse than that, it doesn't get to the root cause of the problem. So what we do want is men to engage in healthy relationships with families, because I agree with Scott Galloway that is very fulfilling. What we don't want them to do is tell them that they have to, and it's shameful if they don't. What we need to be doing as a society is looking and saying, like, why is there this education gap? What are we doing? I have a son too, by the way. What are we doing in our education that makes women feel much more drawn to go all the way through college, and men don't? They feel lost. Maybe one of the problems is that we don't have male teachers. Maybe that men, when they're going through the education system, don't have enough men to identify with. Maybe we don't have male teachers because we don't pay our teachers enough money. And maybe men don't choose that profession because they won't find a woman who will marry them if they don't make enough money. So I know that that's very circular. That's not the only point that I'm trying to make, but like the idea that men are not going all the way through college and getting degrees is the problem. What we need to solve for is how to get men through college, how to identify with them through kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, so that they feel like they can be successful in society. Not get to the point that they're getting less degrees and saying, you should graduate, marry, and have sex and be in love. That's ridiculous and unhelpful. If you want more, go watch the interviews that I've done with Marcia Inhorn, or just read her books. And follow me for more content on men's health.